I know quite a lot of people that are doing a lot of terrible things, smoking and all of that, and they're still going about their life. So I felt like, yes, being healthy is a privilege. It's not something like you have automatic right to it, because even when you're doing the right things, you can still get sick. My name is Koleosho Adetutu. That should be November 23rd, 2023. Yeah, but I'd seen the lump earlier. But the confirmation came in November 23. Was a bit shocking, and it's far from what I was expecting, because then I just newly gave birth, and I was dealing with post-delivery dramas and all of that, and then coupled with a breast cancer diagnosis news, it was a lot. But then I had to face my fear. I'd say chemotherapy.
And what about it did you really struggle with, and how did you cope?
First off, it was quite a lot of changes in my system. Something new to the body, loss of hair, the societal stigma of the news of you being cancer positive, and then having to deal with 4 kids all by myself and my husband, no family around us. We had to shovel hospital appointments with the kids just to like meet up and everything. So it was a lot. And then post chemotherapy, you'd face a lot of how would I explain that now? You face a lot of side effects that will come in. So, and my baby was barely 4 months when I started that. So managing a baby that is not breastfeeding, and then dealing with all of that was a lot. First of all, I'd say God, and my husband has been a great person. He really stood by me, and then my children, when I see them, they're quite young, and seeing them, they kind of give me the zeal to keep the fight going, and I tend to like stay strong for them. Let me put it that way. I would not say I'm a strong person, but being strong is the only option. So one thing I know is when there's a medical diagnosis, there are survivors and there are people who would lose the battle. So one thing I kept my hope and faith on was, even if there are thousands of people losing the battle, I Adetutu will be among the survivors. So that kept me going, and I just wanted, I don't want to hear negative news, so I was just focused on the positivity, and I kept reading about the whole thing, the diagnosis, chances of survival, and do's and don'ts of the whole diagnosis. So that helped me in a way to like know what to avoid, what to stay with, what to eat and what not to eat. So that's just basically what I did. Yes, that's 100% accurate, because I used to be one person that I do life like I have an extra in my wardrobe before, but then the cancer diagnosis changed a lot about my perspective, because I know that death is not age checked. Let me put it like that. I used to think, oh, I'm not living a reckless life, I'm not a bad person, doing my thing my way. So I felt like that was a criteria to like say, okay, I'm going to live long. But when this came, and I know quite a lot of people that are doing a lot of terrible things, smoking and all of that, and they're still going about their life. So I felt like, yes, being healthy is a privilege. It's not something like you have automatic right to it, because even when you're doing the right things, you can still get sick. For friends, yes. For family, I think it got better. Let me start with friends. I lost quite a lot of friends when I newly got diagnosed. Some of them were ashamed to associate with me, because at some point we had to do fundraising on social media. Some of them blocked me off, and I had an amazing support from some of them. Adeshewa, Moteniola, Sister Tosin, Sister Jola. She was the one that started my GoFundMe campaign. So I have a lot of schoolmates that they stood by me. Sheson, Ahmed, quite a lot of this. Doing Sola, they're amazing. They really did their best. And for family, my parents are late, but my in-laws, my siblings, they all stood up to support me. Though they were not here physically, but in terms of the finances, my aunts, they did their best. And at the time of surgery, my ward was always filled up with people coming to check on me and all of that. Obviously, everybody has a downtime. We get to get overwhelmed with the thought and the realization that there's a new phase in life to the diagnosis. But I'll say that giving hope to the other people that are newly diagnosed has really helped me in a way. After I finished my radiotherapy, my cousin got diagnosed just a month after. So it was as if I was rounding up an episode, then another episode is starting all over, because the entire family had to come back to me and say, oh, so you have gone through this, your sister is also going through this, so we need you to hold her hand. So I still go to the hospital with her, I go for a test with her, just like that. So I see it as also giving myself a kind of mental balancing, because I've been there and I know what it takes. So giving hope to others, sharing my stories with people has been one thing that's been keeping me going. Okay, for new habits, I'd say yes, because I've not always been one person that's been conscious of my diet. I just wake up, okay, I'm craving for this thing, and I just eat. But over time, I've learned to outdo some things, like in terms of my exercise. I get to focus more on them. My weight has been one thing that I've been conscious about. My stress level has been one thing I keep in shape. Also, love. I've just realized that there's this energy that is around me, that once you have lovely and amazing people around you, there's this positivity that fills you up. But when you're surrounded by people that are toxic, it doesn't help. So I just stay away from bad energies and I focus on the lovely part of my life. Okay, this is me saying this to every new warrior that's just been diagnosed, and I'm here to give you a positive hope, because we get to announce the death of our warriors and not celebrate the living ones. And it's a privilege to have a platform like this to express ourselves, to tell the world that we have a quite large number of people that are still in the race, that we're so strong, standing strong, keeping hope alive. And I just want to tell you that the strong is just the phase that will pass. I've lost my hair. I've had to deal with a lot of different shades of skin. I've had dark nails. My nails are clear now. My tongue, I had lost appetite. All of those things are just things that is not forever. Because I've met a lot of people that would say, oh, I can't lose my breast because my husband will say this. I can't lose my breast because the society will stigmatize me. It is better to lose a particular part of the body than to lose your life. And when you are at the point where you need to make decisions, put yourself first. Be selfish about that. Put yourself first, because excuse me, you matter the most, and without you, others will try. They will move on. It's just a natural thing. Yes, death is inevitable, but giving it a fight, is what the energy is what they try. So please keep strong and don't run away from hospital appointment. See, I have been there. I've even weighed the options of herbal remedies and chemotherapy and all of that. I wasted quite a lot of money on that. There is no proven cure by all these herbal doctors for cancer. They will just make things go worse before you go back to the hospital. So please don't run away from your hospital appointments. Your doctors are your friends. Learn to ask questions. When they tell you, oh, this is what we're going to do for you, know the name of the medications you are taking. Know what tests you are being asked to do. Ask them questions. What are your expectations when I do this thing? When I take these drugs, what are the side effects? What are the reactions I'm going to get? Learn to ask questions. Your doctors are not scary. There are people you can always talk to, because my doctors are my friend. I talk to them even outside the hospital walls. I call them, this is what I'm experiencing, this is what I'm facing. So please don't always say, oh, because my doctor said my enemy has 6 months to live. It is like that. I've met somebody that the doctors told she has 6 weeks to live, and she has tried for 15 years. So people like that, she has an experience that it is not what money can buy. So learn to associate with others in the race. We have a large community. We have platforms where you can join people to, learn from them. And I believe that with God on our side, we are all going to keep alive. We're going to be fine and healthy. Cancer treatment is not cheap. He's a game changer. Even if you have all the millions in the world, by the time you run tests, it's not something like other ailments that you just use medications and it ends there. Even after few months of finishing treatment now, I've had to deal with me struggling to raise funds to meet up my tests, because there's some tests I need to do every 3 months. There's some medications I get on monthly basis. It's not a one-off thing. So if the government can help us put in structure discounted medications, I know there are kind of there's this government fund they do, but not in every hospital. We don't have it in Lagos. I know it's available in Ibadan, I think Abuja, I think Zaria, so 5 different locations. But we have a large community. We have a large number of people getting to know they have cancer. It's not just about breast, other forms of cancer too. So, and if they can help us with subsidized medications, or probably they equip the hospital, because the facility where I took treatment is always stuffy. We are more or less packed like sardines, because the number to the space they have is not balanced. So if we can get a proper structure, it will make a lot of difference. And then they should treat our medical personnel better, because sometimes in between treatments you just get to hear the doctors are on strike, the nurses are on strike, and things like that affects the treatment. It tends to not make things go as planned. And also I want to say that they should put in place a kind of emotional support, like people that go through cancer treatments, after finishing their treatments, they go for therapies, just to help them psychologically, because it is not everybody that can accept that fact that they are losing that phase of life. Because for me, the last 2 years have been a different total experience for me, and sometimes I break down. That's the honest truth. I break down, but then I just have to pick myself. But not everybody has that zeal, that energy to keep going. So please, if we can have structured plans, okay, you're going through this, we're going to do this for you, do this for you, this for you, and the counseling units too, please, let's do more. Because the moment somebody hears you have cancer, a lot of them just feel like, oh, it's a death sentence. Cancer is not a death sentence. So what they hear from personnel that they are professionals, it kind of encourages them to keep the fight going. Because once the doctor sits you down and say, oh, you have 6 weeks to go, even if the death is not in 6 weeks, that alone is already enough to kill that person. So how we break news to them is also necessary too. So I think that's just a wrap about my suggestion.
Thank you for making time to come here. Thank you for speaking with us. Thank you for sharing your experience
You're
with
welcome.
us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.